Now see, this is the next chapter, that is system of particles and rotational motion. In this chapter first we will discuss about a rigid body. So see, what do you mean by a rigid body? If you have taken any body like this, which is made of actually a large number of the particles, the distance between the pairs of particles do not change, then we can say the body is rigid. But actually, or the truly, there is no body perfectly which is rigid. But because when we apply some external force, there is some deformation in each and every body. So obviously there is a change in the distances between the particles of the system. So we can't say that every body is actually ideally a rigid. But in certain cases, like if you are taking the wheels, tops, and you can take like a steel beam. In these cases, when external force is applied, deformation is very less, that is almost negligible. So these bodies can be considered rigid body. So now we have to study kinds of motion of a rigid body. So here, kinds of motion of a rigid body. First one is pure translational motion. See here, in pure translational motion, what happened here? Actually, each particle of the body at any instant have the same velocity. Suppose you have taken like this an inclined plane, this angle is theta here and this is here, a block is here. This block is coming down, suppose this is the particle P1 coming down and P2 is also coming down. So at any instant, if all the particles of the body are moving with the same velocity in the same direction, then we say body has pure translational motion. Now the second type of motion a rigid body can have, that is called here the pure rotational motion. What happens in case of the pure rotational motion? Suppose you have taken like this body here, rigid body. This is rotating about the axis, this axis. Now each part of the body, suppose the body is made of a large number of the particles. Suppose we consider this particle of the body which is moving in a circular path like this. Similarly, this is of radius suppose r1 and this also is moving in a circular path. So when each particle of the body moves in a circular path or moves in the circle in a plane perpendicular to the axis, then we say the body is in pure rotational motion and the center of all these circles lie on this axis which is fixed, and this axis is known as axis of rotation. So say here this axis which is fixed here, and all particles of this rigid body are moving in the circular path in a plane perpendicular to the axis, and centers of all these circular paths are lying on this axis. So this axis is actually known as rotational motion, and this type of the motion of a body is known as pure rotational motion. Now the third type of the motion which a rigid body can have, that is a third one, that is a combination of translational and rotational motion. See here, suppose you have taken inclined plane like this angle is theta here, and here a body is placed like this may be the disc, maybe anything is a cylinder, and this is rolling like this and coming down. So when the body is coming down, so body is having here the translational motion also, because the body has shifted from here to here, and each part of the body is moving here with the different velocity. So, this type of the motion is actually a combination of translational and rotational motion. So, a rigid body can have three types of motion. One is a pure translational, pure rotational, and combination of rotational and translational motion. Another example of this, wheel of the car. When the car is moving, its wheel is rotating about the axis. In that case, what happened? The wheel is going in a straight line also, so it is traveling the linear distance, so it has a translational motion. At the same time, it is rotating, so it has a rotational motion.